Good evening and welcome back to Wolfe County High School Wolves Esports action. Tonight's matchup features the Wolves Blue and Scott County Team Carnage. So this is a best of 3 series and Team Carnage took game number 1. So this is matchup number 2. We're going to see if the Wolves Blue can rebound and come back and win game number 2. So let's take a look at our champ selection. Let's see here. Alright, so this time the Team Carnage is on the left, and they have decided to ban, looks like, Nasus, Yorick, and is it Aurelia. And the Wolves Blue has decided to ban Vel'Koz, Sejuani, and Xerath.
They start now with immediate lock-in for Orianna mid lane, or Orianna for the mid lane for Team Carnage, as Wolfe can go straight with a Kennen lock-in again. Okay, now going with their ADC lock-in for Kai'Sa. Another support lock-in for Team Carnage, who will be locking in Zyra again. As they now go with their mid lane, who will be locking in Poppy again.
So very, very similar matchup here so
yeah.
far.
Wolfgang does get Alistar, though. Go back now to Wolfgang, who will be starting with their second wave of bans. Starting off with a Nunu ban.
Yeah, Nunu had caused some headache in that last matchup there with that snowball coming in.
Yeah. As we go back to Team Carnage now, who go with their next ban.
Taking every second and making decisions.
Going with the Jace ban. All right, to Wolfgang will be using their last ban, who will be locking in the Lucian ban.
Lucian caused a lot of headache as well that last time,
Yeah.
so interesting to see how this next round's going to go. See if the new bans work or...
Starting off
Jarvan.
With the last one being a Jarvan ban. Now go back to the second wave of picks now, starting with Wolfe County. We'll be locking in Yasuo. So a Yasuo lock-in for Wolfe County.
Back over to Team Carnage as they make their 4th pick here in round number 2. Taking every second to make a decision here. As we count down. And they
lock in the Varus pick.
Yeah.
So we now go to the last pick here for Team Carnage, who will be probably locking in their jungle. Yeah, they'll be locking in their jungle pick here. So they go with the Trundle hovered. So they're hovering Trundle, and they do lock in the Trundle jungle. Yeah. And
Almost
this
rhymes.
meanwhile, Wolfgang goes with the Rammus jungle. So both teams have selected their champions and are now switching them around. There we go.
Is it not? Is it not?
No, they got. Wait. I think it's swapped. There. Okay, now Wolfgang is. Okay, yeah. Now both teams have swapped their champions
Okay.
to their proper places. So.
Alright, so let's go over here and take a look at our starting lineup for your Wolves Blue in Spring 2019. In the top lane, we have Senior Cody Sargent. In the bot lane, running ADC, we have Junior Cameron Caskey, and his support is Junior Jeremy McKinney. In the jungle, we have Junior Matt Riley. And in the mid lane, we have Senior Brendan Bush. So that is your Wolves Blue for Spring 2019. We also want to take this time to thank our sponsors for esports this season: Appalachian Wireless, Mountain Telephone, Licking Valley Rural Electric, Farmers and Traders Bank of Campton, Whitaker Bank of Campton, and Sweetheart by Stephanie of Campton, Kentucky. So thanks to all of our wonderful esports sponsors this season. Let's go back here and take a look at our lineup again. We have a 3-minute spectator delay, so Drew, what are your thoughts on the matchup?
Wolfe County, as they saw from that last game, they're going to have to definitely, change the way that they played. Make sure that they can also, group as a whole. And the way that they have their team comp this game is definitely a little bit of an improvement over that, relying, more on the engage or the sustain, such as the jungle, with, specifically being like the Rammus pick for jungle, as well as getting his Alistar available. Having that Alistar support also helps greatly. They did also let Brendan Gearhead, the Wolfe County's mid laner, he also has Ken in this game, so his engages will also be pretty well, specifically with the ulti. In terms of individual lanes, it'll be versus Poppy versus Yasuo. Poppy being a engaged tank, as we saw in that last game, she's gonna do some pretty interesting damage in the top lane. But as well, meanwhile, Yasuo also having a pretty famous crazy amount of damage whenever he gets to his mid or late game spikes. So Yasuo definitely may be a threat for Team Carnage if he gets his lead. Trundle and Rammus. Trundle does have a lot of damage on his part. Rammus having a lot of tank on his part also. Sort of seems like a good counter for Trundle. Rammus does have a pretty good amount of sustain versus Trundle with the crazy amount of armor, but Trundle does have his lifesteal built in with his Q as well as his ultimate, so Trundle might be a pretty big problem. Orianna and Kennen, as we saw last game, it's a pretty mixed matchup. Although they didn't actually play versus each other in lane, but the times we did see Kennen and Orianna versus each other in lane, in that last game, it was a pretty even match. Between Varus and Kai'Sa, Kai'Sa's going to, both having a pretty good amount of damage based on their ability to get their passives off, both having Varus' W passive, which gives him his bonus damage that he activates after he hits an ability, after he lands 3 auto attacks, as well as Kai'Sa with every 4th auto attack just doing a bonus damage. Between the supports, Zyra's going to have that poke advantage down to the bot lane over Alistar, but Alistar is going to be, Alistar a pretty heavy tank with the ability to heal him and his ADC just by auto-attacking minions. So he should have a pretty good amount of sustain in the bot lane against that Zyra-Varus combo. But between, that's between the two teams in team fight comps, it should be about an even matchup in terms of the team fighting. If Wolfe County can get around those get those successful engages, they should be able to do well this game. So as we now go ahead, last few seconds, go ahead and swap over to the game screen now. Both teams have now spawned, and Wolfe County will be on the red side this game. So Wolfe County is on red, as we do see both teams now moving to lane. We see Zyra and Varus moving towards their bot side red buff, as we see Kennen, Rammus, and Yasuo sitting towards their top side red buff. We see Orianna, Poppy, and Trundle also sitting towards their blue side their top side blue buff, as Orianna sits close, ready for that ward and that pixel brush. And we see Kai'Sa and Alistar sitting towards their bot side red buff. Bot side blue buff. We see Rammus dropping the ward in the Pixel Brush now as he goes up towards his jungle camp. Both jungle camps have spawned, and now the leeches have begun. You see Yas giving that early leash to Rammus in the top lane. As Yas now moves to his lane, you see Trundle and Poppy also leashing for that blue buff, as Trundle secures that easily. Yas and Poppy both moving to lane. Now we see Zyra and Varus sitting in that bot side. Zyra able to land her... Varus getting a Q off on Alistar, doing a pretty good amount of damage early off into the game. We see Varus and Zyra already having that early push down in the bot lane, that early aggro onto Wolfe County's ADC and support. Meanwhile, Yasuo sits in the top lane. Yasuo in versus Poppy, he should be able to have a pretty good amount of consistent damage against her, but her ability to stop dashes towards her might be a big threat for him, being how that, he relies a good portion on his ease. So... Varus does activate the Q, which will connect onto Kai'Sa, doing a good amount of damage there onto her. So Kai'Sa having to play back against under tower, still taking a lot of damage from those plants. We see Alistar does get the heal off onto her, helping out that a little bit. Unlike last game though, they didn't have to. She did not get cheesed early for her flash, so she now has that up. As we see Kennen having Orianna pushed up in mid lane pretty heavily already. Ori also getting some early aggro, landing some abilities onto Poppy there already. Trundle sits towards bot side jungle, waiting to maybe get some damage off on, or maybe for that early yank onto Kennen. As he decides now decides to back off, he does go towards bot side jungle. Rammus meanwhile going for his blue buff. As we see Trundle already going for that scuttle crab. This one getting some auto attacks off of that tower. Plants, the root landing onto Alistar from Zyra. Rammus does get his buff stolen by the Trundle, forcing him to flash over the wall, sadly. So Trundle continuously staying in the jungle, going for Rammus, just keeping him there. As Rammus tries to run away, but he's not going to be able to. Trundle going for that early invade is going to be able to get the first kill, and he does secure the kill with that invade onto Rammus. You do see Kai'Sa taking a lot of damage there from the Varus. Yas getting his abilities off on top lane. Again, that dash block right there from the poppies, making it a little bit rougher for him doing so. Kai'Sa does dodge the root, but does still get hit by that other ability. The Q. Alistar does get the knock-up off onto Varus there, but not able to do much. Kai'Sa currently sitting at no mana down in the bot lane now, as both her and Alistar are pushing her tower. She does get ignited, forcing her to heal, but not before Varus is able to get his Q off and secure that kill under tower with that long-range Q of his charged up. So. Not the best lead for him right now. Kennen does activate his E, getting his Q and W off onto Orianna, doing a crazy amount of damage. That electrocute proc as well, already half-healthing him, or half-healthing the Orianna. Currently seeing a 2-0 lead, Team Carnage, with a 1,500 gold lead roughly on their favor. So you see Trundle roaming now. Trundle is going through the jungle now, just going for those jungle steals, as we do see him roaming around the topside jungle of Rammus, making it a lot rougher for Rammus to be able to do anything. Rammus is about to maybe run into Trundle here pretty soon. Trundle does use a blast cone to go over the wall as he decides to back in Baron Pit. Yas doing some pretty good farming in the top lane. Does get the knock-up off onto Poppy now, dashing through, avoiding her Q damage. Her E does activate, but he was already inside it, so he's able to dash out. Trundle flashes top lane for the Yasuo. Yasuo forced to flash away from Trundle. So Yasuo's flash is down now in the top lane, as Rammus goes for his jungle camps again. And the top side is red buff about to spawn pretty soon. or in the next minute. You see Ramos moving up top, maybe looking for a gank here. He does go through top lane, but not be able to get anything out of it. Zyra does land her root on Alistar. Alistar staying back, taking a lot of damage there. Again, Alistar, though, being pure tank, he is able to, you know, shrug a good bit of it off. Let's go and check the CS real quick. Yas does have about 10 CS lead top. Trundle with about 20 CS in the jungle. Mid lane farming about even, and then ADC sitting about a 20 CS lead in favor of Team Carnage because of that crazy amount of poke that Varus does have over Kai'Sa. Because the definitely doing good part to the Zyra being able to have that much poke down in the bot lane, forcing Wolfe to play back defensive under their tower and such. Another auto attacks to rock off. Another tower plating taken by Team Carnage here. Able to secure that pretty easily now. Again, just not be able to out-trade at this point. Kai'Sa not doing much damage versus the Varus with the aid of that Zyra doing a good portion of it. Zyra does land the root onto Kai'Sa, forcing her to flash away from under tower. And she almost did die to that, so she's playing a dangerous game. The Varus does have that long-range Q, so Kai'Sa will have to back off. Alistar trying to defend the lane a little bit, but not before they will probably be able to get another turret plating out of it at least. We do see now Kai'Sa has backed. Alistar sitting under mid lane trying to defend, but not before Varus does get the ultimate off onto Alistar, as Zyra also gets the ultimate. Zyra does secure that kill. We do see now Zyra and Varus moving off bot lane as Trundle also moves towards Dragon, as he will try and go for the first Drake of the game, being an Ocean Drake at 8 minutes. So Wolfe currently sitting down about 3,000 gold at 8 minutes. This is definitely being a pretty big problem for him at this point. Yas does get the knock-up off onto Poppy, but he ain't going to be able to do much against her right now because she's pretty tanky. So he doesn't have much damage build either. He does get the knock up again. Connects as Team Carnage does secure an uncontested Drake. We will see them now backing off. Trundle continuously roaming through the bot lane jungle. He got back to in his bot lane jungle, going to his Raptors now. As Rammus goes for his blue buff. Yas missing the knock up there. Kennen playing under his tower as Orianna does the same mid lane. Rammus does get his blue buff. He secures that, hitting level 6 at the same time. Meanwhile, Trundle getting his red buff. Orianna missing the Q there onto Kennen. Kennen going with the E, dashing in onto Orianna. He does get the W off, missing the Q though, but getting an auto attack off to still proc the electrocute onto Orianna. Kai'Sa and Alistar now pushing up bot lane. The first time all game they've had the ability to do so, but immediately going to be able to have to push back because of those plants again. She was doing crazy damage to him. Alistar does get hit with the Varus Q there, as we see Orianna land the QW onto Kennen mid lane. Kennen does back off now, a little passive. We see Rammus going down bot lane for a gank. He's not going to be able to do so before the plants do hit him. Alistar does get the knock-up off, as we see Rammus coming from the side. Kai'Sa does get an auto attack off. She's going to get the ignite onto Varus, as Varus heals, forcing Kai'Sa to run away from the side. Alistar does get the kill though with his ignite, as Trundle goes in, ulting Kai'Sa, as Zyra able to get the kill with her ignite as well. Rammus flashing away, but not before Trundle's able to get the kill. Alistar trying to run, but the root's going to be able to stop him. Trundle's going to be able to get that kill easily though, but actually Zyra gets it. So Zyra does get a double kill down in the bot lane. Currently sitting at 6-1 against Wolfe County. This is just a rough game for Wolfe County right now. They do throw the Yasuo goes with the dash. He's going to get blocked, but he does get the knock-up to land onto Poppy. Poppy's being really tanky. Big problem for Wolfe County, or Wolfe County's top laner. Yasuo trying to do some damage. Trundle will aid Zyra in securing that first tower. They will get that first tower bot lane now because Kai'Sa won't be able to get there in time as they do secure that first tower. Yas does have his knockup ready. He's going to be able to hit it here. Kennen taking a lot of damage on her tower. Kennen having to back off. He's already really low health mid lane. Poppy trying to defend that tower top from those minions pushing up. You see Vayne or you see Kai'Sa trying to come in down bot lane, trying to get something off onto Varus, but Varus going to stay back, missing his Q on both Alistar and Kai'Sa there. Trundle backing in the jungle. Zyra roaming towards mid lane, as we see Rammus coming down mid and Orianna pushed up. Zyra is mid lane though, so she might be able to go in on Rammus here, who does have to run away. The root does land onto Rammus though under tower. Orianna getting her Q and W off. Kai'Sa missing the W onto Varus there. Varus following Kai'Sa and Alistar as the ward in the bush is removed. Kai'Sa Poppy also removing a ward in that top side bush. Wards again being removed. Zyra going to remove one on that bush right there as we see Orianna rotating towards bot side. Kennen following up really close. Kennen maybe going in looking for an engage on Orianna here. As we do see Varus does get the ult off onto Kai'Sa. Alistar gets the knock-up off, stopping him, but not before Zyra is able to ult behind, trying to get something off here. Rammus going with that ulti as well. Alistar getting his E onto Varus here. As we do see Kennen coming up from the side, does get the ultimate. It's going to land, killing Varus. As we see Kennen coming down, securing that double kill, shutting down Varus as well as Zyra, getting him a pretty good gold bonus right there. We do see Alistar now roaming towards mid lane, trying to get that Orianna push back. As we do see what looks like, we do see Team Carnage going for that Rift Herald now. Knockback is going to stop them. They are able to secure it. Alistar trying to get the knock up there, not before Poppy can stop the knock up. Trundle engaging onto Yasuo. Yasuo stopping the thing. We see knock up ulted back. We see Poppy ulting back than Alistar, but as Yasuo is forced to flash, but not before Trundle's able to get that kill on Yasuo. Poppy just throwing away Alistar, making it a lot easier for that team fight to take out Yasuo. So Wolfgang currently the score is currently 9-3 at 13 minutes in favor of Team Carnage, with a 6,000 gold lead in their favor as well, with a tower and an Ocean Drake. Rammus does get rooted there. Varus getting activating his Bork onto Rammus there, doing pretty good damage. Alistar does get rooted under tower. We see Rammus trying to get an engage there as Alistar is almost taken out by that Varus Q. He's doing crazy damage. Kai'Sa does get the W to connect onto Varus, but it looks like that mid lane tower is going to fall pretty soon. Her plating has fallen now, as we see Poppy just continuously pushing that top lane out. Yas trying to push her off, but not before we see Rift Herald does get spawned top lane by Trundle. Varus taking a lot of damage there, ulting onto the mid lane, but not before Zyra and Orianna are also able to converge onto him and secure that kill for Orianna against Kennen. Yasuo trying to stop Poppy, but not before the knockup's able to finish her off, or not before the Q's able to finish off. Rammus trying to defend the top lane tower. He's going to be able to get Rift Herald, maybe? Not before Trundle's able to finish him off, so Trundle currently just doing crazy damage here with a 4-0 score. And Wolfgang does lose their top lane tower as well. We'll see here an attempt to get this another tower taken mid lane here, as Varus and Zyra do secure that mid lane tower. They will go down for that Drake now, and this one being a Mountain Drake. As they should be able to secure this uncontested. Kennen and meanwhile the rest of Wolfgang trying to push those lanes back, as we see Poppy now rotating back towards top lane, trying to push that lane out, as Orianna and also pushes mid. We see Zyra moving towards top lane now. Yasuo trying to defend that lane a little bit as he tries to secure some jungle farm there for himself. Kai'Sa and Alistar moving towards mid lane now from bot side. Ramus also following, going through mid lane, or going towards mid lane. Yas continuously sitting towards top lane now, as we see Orianna does see in the bush. We do see an engage here. Orianna does ult Ramus and Kai'Sa. Varus able to get that Q off, just doing crazy damage there, as Orianna does get the kill. Ramus, or the ult from Zyra onto Kennen and Ramus. They're both able to get away, barely. Yasuo trying to do something top lane, but not being able to do much, as we see Poppy's able to try and run away. Yas does get the knock-up off, but he's going to be knocked against the wall here, as Poppy's able to run away. We do see Ramus sitting at a very low HP in the mid lane. He does need to back off. He is sitting at far too low health to be able to do anything and try and fight them. Kennen trying to push them off, but they're not going to be able to do anything, as they be able to get this tower very easily. They go now for the first inhib now at 17 minutes, and they will be able to secure that without any contesting. Okay, now moving towards through the bot side jungle, we see Ramus securing some more jungle camps, as well as we see Kai'Sa and Alistar moving through, trying to get rid of some of those wards that have been put down there. Again, the entirety of this match is warded heavily, man. The wards from Team Carnage are just insane. That vision definitely helping them out against those ganks and such. Orianna does secure that jungle camp, or the blue buff, sorry, in her make it, yeah. So she does get blue buff. As we see, Yasuo continuously trying to defend that top lane against that Poppy who just keeps pushing. Yas does get the knock-up. He's going to ult onto Poppy now. The Aftershock is going to both be able to pop off onto him. He does get the knockback, as they try and defend, but it looks like Varus and Zyra are going to be able to secure this second bot lane tower. As we see Ramus getting engaged onto, or no, Kennen getting engaged onto by Trundle, forcing Kennen to flash over the wall, as we do see Varus secure the that bot lane tower. Alistar, meanwhile, Wolfe kind of is trying to defend that bot lane now. The Trundle does get the block onto. And we see Orianna ulting Ramus and Alistar under tower, getting a double kill there because of it. Kennen ulting in under tower, trying to stop them. The stopwatch does not go off. Orianna does secure a triple kill, does get the quadra kill. Meanwhile, Varus does finish off that last kill to get Kai'Sa. Orianna doing a lot there in that team fight just to keep Wolfcan completely focused in that one area. As they do manage to push, they're going to try and get this first Nexus tower. Wolfgang doesn't have anyone to defend yet, as we do see the Nexus tower does fall, as Wolfgang does try and defend, but they're not going to do anything, as it does seem that Team Carnage will win and secure the second victory.
Alright, so that concludes the Final Four matchup here between Wolves Blue and Team Carnage. I'm going to go back here to... So, after 2 rounds, Wolves Blue came up short both times, and Carnage did come away victorious. And that's the end of the Wolves Blue Spring 29 season. Not the way we wanted to end, but, we're just so proud of all of our students and the way they, represented themselves in our school. And we're a small, rural Eastern Kentucky town. Never dreamed of making it to the Final Four of Esports playoffs, So, I'm just so proud of all my kiddos out there. Give a shout out to all my teams, all my esports kids, and my community for all their support. We couldn't have done it without our administrators, our technology department, and just everybody out there, and friends and family who have cheered us on all season long. So even though the Wolves Blue do go down, we had a tremendous season, a lot to be proud of, and you better believe we will be back next year, and hopefully have another successful story to tell next season. So thanks everybody for joining us this season. This will be our last event until the fall. So make sure to hit that subscription button if you hadn't, and check in with us this fall for more Wolves esports action. Till next time.